This is ESPN on ABC.
It's a beautiful night in the Queen City of Charlotte, North Carolina, where tonight the South Carolina Gamecocks look to tattoo their border rivals, the North Carolina Tar Heels. Two teams with high hopes, in part because of their quarterbacks. Drake May was the ACC Offensive Player of the Year last season. He's a leading Heisman hopeful this season. 2 years ago in Oklahoma, Spencer Rattler was the preseason Heisman favorite, only to lose his starting job and transfer to South Carolina. He's hoping to build on a strong finish to his first season as a Gamecock last season. Welcome everyone to the Dukes Mayo Classic. It's Saturday Night Football presented by Capital One, number 21 North Carolina against South Carolina. The Gamecocks just out of the top 25 in this early season. Hi everybody and welcome. I'm Sean McDonough, delighted to be working this year with Greg McElroy. We're happy to have you with us for what really is one of the most appealing matchups of this week one of the college football season. Two teams a year ago moved forward in terms of the win total, but North Carolina, an unsatisfying finish. At one point they were 9-1, they finished 9-5. South Carolina finished 8-5, but on the rise with big wins late in the year.
I think if you were to describe last year's seasons for both these teams, progress was made, but there's unfinished business. You referenced North Carolina, great start to the year, and then a 4-game losing streak to leave you with an unsatisfying taste in your mouth heading into the offseason. And then South Carolina beating Tennessee the way they did, a playoff contender, and then beating their rival for the first time in nearly a decade. However, a big win tonight would really propel some of that momentum created by the Gamecocks last year.
They both believe they're going to be better this year. Mack Brown has been using the expression from good to great. That's what he hopes for from his Tar Heels, and they have the kind of quarterback who can get that done, maybe the best in the country.
And if you rewind to last season, week one, he was just trying to solidify his hold on the starting spot, had a very hard-fought camp battle against Jacoby Criswell, ultimately became the guy, and then you fast forward several months later, he's a top 10 finisher in the Heisman and shattered several records along the way. A tremendous deep ball thrower, very accurate, but what stands out the most, at 6'4", 230 pounds, he's got wheels. Being able to create a lot of opportunities for his receivers by extending plays, and if nothing's there, he can take off and make you pay.
Meanwhile, at South Carolina last year, inconsistent. The word Shane Beamer's using this year's consistency. They were 6-4. Then they took off in large part because Spencer Rattler was fantastic down the stretch against Tennessee, Clemson, and in the bowl game against Notre Dame.
And that's been the story of Spencer Rattler's career up to this point. At Oklahoma, a tremendous 2020 campaign. 2021, he's 5-0 and yet gets replaced. This is a young man that has been through the ringer. Transfers to South Carolina, has a less than stellar start to his season last year, but my goodness, down the stretch, totally dialed in, and with the new offensive coordinator, they say he is playing the best football of his career.
Sir Big Spur knows the way to Charlotte. They're opening their season here for the 4th time in the last 9 seasons, for the 3rd time against North Carolina.
The Nissan pregame drive is next, after this message and a word from our ABC stations.
Back in Charlotte, the South Carolina Gamecocks taking the field, getting ready for the 130th season of intercollegiate football.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's football time.
It's the moment we all been waiting for.
College football is all the way back.
It's time. Buckle in, baby, because we're in for a hell of a ride.
I walk 47 miles with barbed wire. I got a new stick for necktie. A brand new house all on the roadside. It's made out of rattlesnake hide. Got a brand new gin that baby put on top, and it's made out of human skull. Come on, take a little walk with me, baby, and tell me who do you love?
This place is officially lit.
Who do you love?
There is a passion and a wildness. Only in college football, Death Valley roars to life. For the win, it's gone!
Color, pageantry, tradition. These are the ingredients that make college football unique.
Have to get real loud, folks. Buckle up and enjoy. Here we go. He downfield, takes his shot, catches it in stride. Hero fly.
What a catch. That is unbelievable. To the house.
Now I want football. You want football. Everybody wants football.
Yeah, who do you love?
I don't know about you, but I love college football.
We love college football, and it is back in earnest. We said South Carolina about to begin its 130th season of college football. Mack Brown on the North Carolina sideline tonight begins his 35th season of his Hall of Fame career, and he's with Molly McGrath.
Coach, your theme all offseason was good to great. What does your quarterback Drake May need to do to be great tonight?
Molly's got to manage the game. Play with confidence, get the ball out of his hands quickly. We've had too many sacks here over the last 3 or 4 years, and make sure he gets the ball to the playmakers. We're short a couple of receivers, so we're going to have to run the ball better. We're going to have to stay balanced, but it's on him to get the ball to the right guys.
How is Spencer Rattler a different player when he's pressured?
Well, when Spencer's on, the last 3 games, he was as good as anybody in the country. So we've got to stop the run and disrupt their quarterback. If we let him sit back there and throw, we got a long night.
All right, thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Sean.
And Greg McElroy, if Mack Brown's team's going to go from good to great, it really needs to start on the other side of the ball on the defense. They're one of the worst in the country last year, and they'll be on the field first as South Carolina won the toss and will receive the opening kickoff.
And a big point of emphasis for Gene Chizik and Mack Brown. Chizik, the defensive coordinator, be more aggressive, attack. So we'll see if that can come to fruition against an offense that's likely to use a lot of tempo early in this game.
In opening games, so often special teams are a huge factor. South Carolina was the best special teams group in the country last year. Xavier Legette, the primary return man, back deep. He took one back 100 for a touchdown against Texas A&M. Ryan Coe, the newcomer, transferred from Cincinnati, kicks off, and it's a boomer down to the back of the end zone. So here comes South Carolina, led by the 5th-year senior from Phoenix, Arizona, Spencer Rattler. He was the #1 quarterback in the high school world coming out of Pinnacle High School in Arizona, and finished up strong in those 3 games against Tennessee. They put 63 points on the board against the then #5 Vols, led them from behind to beat Clemson in Death Valley, and then played well in their bowl game loss in the Gator Bowl to Notre Dame. Kerryon Joyner is the running back. It looked like they might run a trick play right out of the gate. Legette looked like he might throw it. Instead, he's dumped by Elijah Huzzy, first-year player as a transfer from East Tennessee State.
That was going to be a trick play. That was good job defensively by the Tar Heels to stay at home and to play the receiver trying to get over the top, and a great play by Huzzy, the transfer.
Loss of 2, 2nd and 12, and a nice tackle immediately. Trey Knox made the catch, and Power Eccles took him down.
Power Eccles and Cedric Gray, those 2 off-the-ball inside linebackers, that's the strength of this Carolina defense. Even though they had their ups and downs last year, those guys are consistent, and a couple nice plays early from the Tar Heels.
They both made more than 100 tackles, Eccles and Gray, last year. No gain on that play, 3rd down and 12. Gene Chizik said he'd be much more aggressive this year, and he comes after Rattler with just 3 men. They almost sacked him. He got away and threw an incomplete pass intended for Juice Wells, their best receiver. It was Kamen Rucker who put the primary pressure on Rattler but couldn't get him to the ground.
And just a 3-man rush, too, against several offensive linemen, 5 to be exact. Gets around the edge. A good job by Rattler escaping and trying to find something, but nearly intercepted. It would have been a heck of a catch had the Gamecocks pulled that one off.
Ty Kroger, one of the best punters in the country, and he will punt it. They run a lot of fakes. Huzzy, the return man, and he makes a fair catch at the 30. There was some contact near the ball, but no flags thrown by this ACC crew led by Derek Hatton. Non-conference game, Drake May and the Tar Heels out of the ACC, South Carolina out of the SEC. And here's the first opportunity on offense for May from just a few miles away. Myers Park High School in Charlotte led the nation in total offense last year with more than 5,000 yards. The Carolina record. He was the ACC Player of the Year, the Offensive Player of the Year, the Offensive Rookie of the Year, and the Rookie of the Year. He dumps it off short for British Brooks. Back in action after missing all of last season with a knee injury. And Carolina, the North version, gets 8.
A good start there. Easy completion for Drake May. And a good call there by new offensive coordinator Chip Lindsey to get his quarterback going here to start the game.
Nick Eamon-Warry is injured on the first defensive play for South Carolina. Their leading tackler last year as a freshman. Made a couple of freshman All-American teams. And he is a terrific safety.
As you see, he's going to the ground. It's a good open field tackle. Lands awkwardly on that right side. And it's a big relief to see him walking off under his own power. One of the best secondary defenders, not just in the Southeastern Conference, but in all of America.
They play usually with 5 defensive backs like North Carolina. Shane Beamer's defense needs to get better if they're going to take another step forward this year. They gave up 29 points per game, 87th in the country in scoring defense, 89th in total defense. Out of the pistol with British Brooks, the running back, on 2nd and 2. Brooks bounces off some tackles and has a first down to the 43. Tough run. He's powerfully put together at 5'11", 225.
And that's a position they feel excellent about. The depth that they have at running back. British Brooks lost last year in preseason camp. He's one of the heartbeats of this football team. Former walk-on, great special teams player that has now worked his way into the rotation. So the entire Tar Heel sideline thrilled to see him back in action, now in a featured role at the starting running back spot.
They spread the field with 5 wide receivers. Quick toss out for Kobe Paysor. And he gets 8, perhaps 9. Stone Blanton, the middle linebacker, made the tackle. North Carolina trying to replace its 2 leading receivers from a year ago, both drafted in the NFL, Josh Downs and Antoine Green. Paysor, one of the likeliest to step forward. On 2nd and 2, a big hole for Brooks. British Brooks inside the 35. And another North Carolina first down. The cornerback O'Donnell Fortune made the tackle after B.J. Gibson whiffed. 15 yards. Both teams said they try to go at a high tempo with regularity. And North Carolina doing that right now. Although now there's a whistle.
The previous play is under further review for potential targeting.
This Chip Lindsey, first-year offensive coordinator, replacing Phil Longo, who left to go to Wisconsin on Luke Fickell's new staff for the Badgers. That's what they're looking at in the replay booth. Jesse Garcia is the replay official. O'Donnell Fortune is fortunate as they replayed for targeting and determined it was not targeting his hit on British Brooks on the 15-yard gain for North Carolina. So he's still in the game. They're still playing without Nick Eamon-Warry, their leading returning tackler. 1st and 10, North Carolina on the move. And they flip it to Doc Chapman, his first collegiate touch. And they get 8 more on first down. Very effective on first down. Jalen Kilgore, the tackle. Chapman did not play last year. He's a redshirt freshman, was highly recruited. May right down the middle, has a tight end, John Copenhaver, down to the 10-yard line where Kilgore took him down. They'll give him the 9, and it's 1st and goal for the Tar Heels. That one goes for 17.
Great design there from offensive coordinator Chip Lindsey.
They're going with very fast pace. Marion Hampton, the ball carrier, sophomore. They'll be running back by committee. And one of the changes this year, Greg, Mac Brown said we are going to run the football more, be a more physical team. And it looks like to start the season they're living up to that.
Massive point of emphasis is a big physical offensive line, a little inexperienced on the edges at tackle, but they have some guys that can move you, and it's showcasing itself here on this first drive.
Second down and goal. Hampton down to the 1-yard line. He's another powerful back at 6 feet 220. Former North Carolina Gatorade High School Player of the Year. He got 4. There's Eamon Warry trying to work it out on the bicycle. They do not have much depth. Shane Beamer, Clayton White, they love their starting 5 in the secondary. He said if we have injuries, we have a lot of inexperience behind those 5 guys. Brooks and Hampton in together.
First charge timeout. South Carolina.
And the Gamecocks on their heels use a timeout. We should point out, by the way, the flip card was incorrect with the officials. Jeff Heiser is leading this ACC officiating crew as tonight's referee. Let's check in with Molly McGrath.
Well, Sean, you were wondering about South Carolina's Nick Eamon-Warry. He was visibly angry when he came off the field. He yelled and threw a chair, and then when he came out of the medical tent, he jogged back and forth on the sideline and then punched a bench in frustration, grabbing his left hamstring. He's dealing with a lot of pain and discomfort, and he has put down his helmet and is working with medical training staff to get this fixed, Sean.
Well, that would be a huge loss. He's going to try some more on the bike. Local guy just down the road in Columbia, Irmo. Both of their safeties are locals. DQ Smith from Columbia. Not a great start for the South Carolina defense. North Carolina's gone 8 plays, 69 yards. They run right over the ball. May shovels it back for Hampton. Touchdown, but there is a flag down in the end zone on the near side.
More than 11 players on defense. All penalties declined. Results in play. Touchdown.
Even with too many, they couldn't stop Hampton. The sophomore has the first touchdown of the season for Mac Brown.
Too many guys, it still doesn't matter. Not only is it too many, how about 13 defenders on the field
is that all?
For the Gamecocks? I'd say that's illegal, Sean. And yet it still didn't matter. The emphasis on physicality and running the football, being able to surge their way into the end zone.
6 rushes and only 3 passes for Drake May on the touchdown drive. May went 3 for 3 as they went 70 yards in 9 plays, just under 4 minutes to do it. And North Carolina, after the extra point by Ryan Coe, has a 7-0 lead.
It was a thing of beauty as we take a look at this touchdown run by Hampton, just surging through, and a good push there on the left side of the offensive line and the tight ends as well. As you can see the aggressive pylon cam.
On that first replay, it looked like his knee might have been down before he broke the plane of the end zone.
Very difficult to see where that ball is in that giant mash of Tar Heel blue, exactly where it's at. But that was one that obviously every play is reviewed. That was one I'm surprised they didn't take a second look at.
So Hampton, the touchdown. He rushed for 6 last year as a freshman. Got off to a great start as a freshman last year. Rushed for 110 in his first college game against Georgia State. Last freshman to rush for 100 in his first game for North Carolina. Do you know? It's not the athletic trivia question.
I do not know. I'd say Javante Barnes.
Charlie Choo Choo Coleman, the legend, back in 1946.
Oh, so just a little bit outside my lifetime. I can't believe I didn't know that.
Well, you should have. Our director, Scott Johnson, worked that game early in televised football. Here's Coe. And Leggett will not try to return it. So a slow start for South Carolina. That was a problem for a lot of last year as well. They started 6-4. Look at the numbers for Rattler. 8 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. A negative ratio. But then they caught fire, Scored 63 against Tennessee. Rallied from 14 down to beat Clemson, ending the Tigers' 40-game home winning streak. And then they lost a wild game, a competitive game against another top 20 team in Notre Dame. This is the first time in school history they're playing 4 straight ranked opponents. The last 3 of last season, and now number 21, North Carolina, to open this one. The carry on Joyner will be their primary running back. He's had a fascinating career, was a quarterback, then shifted to wide receiver, had not played running back until this spring, and he will be their lead ball carrier. Just 11 career snaps at running back. And they have an injured right tackle in Kason Henry, a new starter. It's largely a new unit up front for the Gamecocks.
Duke's Mayo Classic Saturday Night Football is presented by Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Aerial coverage high above Charlotte, provided by Goodyear. Celebrating the challenge of road games everywhere. Are you ready for the road? Goodyear, more driven. 82 degrees with low humidity. Just a delightful night here in Charlotte, as North Carolina and South Carolina play for the 60th time in a rivalry that dates back to 1903. The last time they met was at the end of the season 2 seasons ago. The 2021 Duke's Mayo Bowl right here in the stadium, won by South Carolina. Tyshawn Wanamaker has come in at right tackle. And the handoff up the middle. Joyner dumped by Kamen Rucker. It's a loss of 2.
Just really remarkable when you think about what North Carolina was last year defensively. Really struggled to be disruptive, really struggled to make plays behind the opponent's offensive line. No negative plays, no negative sacks. So far, 5 plays for South Carolina, -1 yards. They are attacking in Tar Heel Blue.
The 2 plays for lost yardage, 1 for no gain. Rattler got plastered, still got it off, and it is caught across the 40 for a first down. Xavier Leggett with a first down on a 21-yard pickup.
This is trust right here. I mean, Spencer Rattler, man in his face, has to stay in there. As you can see, Cedric Gray applying the pressure. You better be careful. That was dangerously close to a targeting.
Very high hit. Rattler, single coverage for Leggett. And he makes another leaping catch. Won the one-on-one against Tayon Holloway. A redshirt freshman making his first career start. 38 yards on that one.
And how about the high point by Leggett? Big body wide receiver, 6'3" and change, timing it perfectly and dragging it in for a big gain.
7 minutes gone by. Rattler slides down. We should point out that secondary for North Carolina without DeAndre Boykins, who would have been their starting star, a nickel. The torn ACL they just announced earlier today, he's out for the year. So Holloway has to play corner, and Huzzy, who was going to be a starting corner, will play the star position.
And star position very important in this defensive set.
Short set by Rattler and a good tackle in the open field. Cedric Gray, who led all Power 5 players with 145 tackles last year, stopped Joyner after a gain of 2.
Sean, just such an impressive young man. Visiting with him yesterday. Could have gone to the NFL. Could be playing for a lot of money right now. Decided to come back citing unfinished business. Feeling as though he wants to bring a championship home to Chapel Hill.
Wants to get his degree. 3rd down and 7. Rattler over the middle. Caught. First down inside the 5. Trey Knox, the transfer tight end from Arkansas, where he played last year for Dow Loggins, who was the tight end coach. He's now the offensive coordinator at South Carolina.
Just a great job by Spencer Rattler identifying a matchup. You have a rangy, athletic tight end working against Don Chapman, the flat-footed safety. He beats him inside and nearly scores.
Joyner the running back. Joyner the ball carrier. Joyner the touchdown. explosive drive. Couple of big plays in the passing game. Got him close, and then Joyner punched it in. Mitch Jeter adds the extra point. Rattler 4 for 4 on the drive. And then Joyner, who was the MVP of the bowl game the last time these two teams played each other.
Let's take a look at tonight's Mark of a Fighter moment, brought to you by Modelo. It's a simple game. It's just numbers and leverage. And if you look at this, you have 3 defenders on the left side of the center. You got 3 blockers on the left side of the center. All Dakereon Joyner has to do, he's got to beat Cedric Gray to the spot. He does so nicely to put some points on the board for the first time of the 2023 season for the Gamecocks. Excellent answer after an opening drive 3 and out.
5th career rushing touchdown. We mentioned he only had a few snaps as a running back prior to tonight, but they have used him as a quarterback, as a Wildcat quarterback. We mentioned he was the starting quarterback when they beat North Carolina in the Duke's Mayo Bowl here at the end of the 2021 season. Short kickoff down to George Pettaway, and he was tackled in sturdy fashion at the 22-yard line. Tomorrow night, the top 10 matchup in Orlando in the Camping World kickoff game. ABC 7:30, number 5 LSU, number 8 Florida State. What a game they played last year when the Seminoles won by a point when LSU had a PAT block with no time remaining. First and 10, North Carolina. Drake May 3 for 3 for 34 yards. Might have been a design quarterback draw, and it didn't go very far. Perhaps a 1-yard gain. Keenan Nelson Jr., their nickel, played in just 4 games last year and redshirted. Eamon Warry back in the game, but he's hobbling. One-yard gain. The Carolinas tied at 7. British Brooks, the running back. 4 receivers, 3 to the right. Pressure brought by the Gamecocks, and a slant caught for a first down. Kamari Morales, part of that deep tight end group, a 12-yard gain. He caught 29 for the Heels last year.
And just pinpoint accuracy on the slant. Big body Morales out in the slot, a little thin naturally at wide receiver. They're going to use some of their tight ends in a more traditional wide receiver set. Morales right there at 6'2", 250, bodies it up and makes a nice catch.
I'm afraid that might be the end of the night for Eamon Warry. It almost looks like he's in tears as he comes off. Tried to give it a go, but couldn't. And that's a huge loss. As I mentioned, they like their starting 5 across the back, but they feel like they have very little depth. Chapman, the motion man. He took the handoff and crossed the 40. Got dumped by O'Donnell Fortune.
Most of the game plan so far for North Carolina, they acknowledge that if you look at South Carolina defensively up the middle, they're very stout. They're difficult to go vertical against. So their plan so far has been to spread them out horizontally, get them running sideline to sideline, and then as the drive starts to mature, that's when you start to gash them vertically.
Brooks again. The last play was a forward pass. So May's 5 for 5. This time Stone Blanton stops the play for a 1-yard gain. They brought Chip Lindsey over. Mac Brown said, I really didn't know anything about Chip Lindsey, or not much. I had guys on my staff who knew him. His passing concept very similar to Phil Long, though the passing game wasn't broken. But Chip Lindsey has a history of being able to run the football where he's been.
Yeah, far more balance, coming and working alongside Gus Malzahn for many years, who obviously is excellent running the football.
3rd down and 4. And the catch made for a first down. Blanton the tackle on Brooks. but they got the first down with about 2 yards to spare.
And that's very impressive. You have a running back, a traditional downhill running back, working against the linebacker. That's an excellent matchup and great identification by Drake May. Anytime you get a running back in space against the linebacker on a route, especially with inside leverage, that is absolutely a go-to situation. And a great job by Brooks getting the yard to gain.
The quarterback's living up to the advanced billing. May fires. That's caught again. He's 7 for 7. J.J. Jones the grab. Rattler, meanwhile, is 5 out of 6. So there's been one incomplete pass so far. I heard Dan Orlovsky, our colleague on the ABC studio show today, say this is going to be the best game of the year in terms of the quarterback matchup. Two guys of incredibly high talent level. Paysor the catch. Not saying that they're two best, but you probably won't find another matchup in the country where there are two quarterbacks this outstanding.
Yeah, we're very blessed in college football right now to have tremendous quarterbacks all over the landscape. The Pac-12 has 6 or 7. Add Shedeur Sanders now based on his performance today, but here in this part of the country, you'd be hard-pressed in the southeastern and the Atlantic coast to find two any better than Drake May and Spencer Rattler.
So it's North Carolina on the move again, and a great play by Debo Williams. Slashing through to drop Hampton for a 5-yard loss.
That's great timing, anticipating and hitting it as hard as humanly possible. You talk to the defensive staff of South Carolina, they feel like they have two really solid linebackers. Stone Blanton's more the GPS guy, more read and react guy. When you describe Debo Williams, he's a downhill guy. He's coming 100 miles an hour and did so there for a nice loss on the play.
Backup for most of last year. He's a transfer from Delaware. Second down, 15. May, all kinds of running room. And he has a first down. Tripped up from behind. Williams couldn't make the tackle in the open field. He would have stopped May well short of the first down. Drake gets 16.
And that's really difficult for Debo Williams. He just made the play a second ago. You get Drake May at 6'4". He's got some wiggle, though. You'd be surprised just how agile he is side to side.
He's a terrific athlete. Hampton, the ball carrier, is well known. He comes from a very athletic family. His dad, Mark, was a quarterback at North Carolina, a 2-year starter, was a graduate assistant under Mac Brown during Mac's first stint. He is the youngest of 4 boys. All 3 of them accomplished athletes. His brother Luke, a basketball star at North Carolina, part of a national championship team, now playing in Turkey. Cole, a baseball pitcher at Florida, won a national championship. Bo, still at North Carolina, was on the basketball team. Short throw, no gain. George Pettaway the catch. Williams there again. Drake May told us yesterday his mom, Amy, is actually the best athlete in the family.
He said that she's a 3-sport star and a 5-sport athlete. So that's a pretty good place to start. And here on 3rd and 9, this was an area where North Carolina really excelled last year. One of the best in the country in obvious 3rd down situations. So South Carolina, if they're going to bring pressure, which is what you do to try to knock North Carolina out of field goal range, be mindful, because if you overrush the quarterback, Drake May could take off and make you pay.
Final seconds of the quarter. They did bring a blitz from the corner. And that catch by Paysor ends 2 yards short of the line to gain. And it'll end the first quarter. A very entertaining opening 15 minutes of the season for these border rivals. ESPN's presentation of college football on ABC will return after this message and a word from our ABC stations. We're back, start of the second quarter, tied at 7, North Carolina, South Carolina. 4th and 3 for North Carolina, the South Carolina 23, and Mac Brown has the offense still on the field.
Yeah, trusting Drake May. He's dealing a hot hand so far, and he cited the bowl game last year, a missed opportunity on 4th and short. He now is relying a little bit more on analytics, and given the state of their offense, it's understandable they keep him on here.
They kicked a couple of field goals late against Oregon, and he regretted it after the game when they lost by a point. Said he's more likely to go for more 4th downs this year instead of field goals. 4th and 3, quick slant, incomplete. Tried to get it to Gavin Blackwell. O'Donnell Fortune had the coverage, and Shane Beamer's defense takes over on the first incomplete pass out of 11 thrown by Drake May.
And this is really nice technique defensively by South Carolina. This is called a top hat technique. Is where the defender closest to the line of scrimmage is actually covering the guy behind him. And man, when you get in that alignment, you think he's covering the guy that's on the ball, and you get that natural pick. Instead, they pass it off. It kind of catches Carolina by surprise, and it results in a turnover on downs. Excellent, excellent coverage there by South Carolina.
13-play drive for North Carolina results in no points. Direct snap to DK Joyner. Mentioned he was a quarterback in the past. That one didn't fool North Carolina. It's a 3-yard loss. We said the last time they played each other, Joyner made his first start of 2021, one of 4 different starting quarterbacks they used that year, and he led them to victory. Rattler back taking the snap, and it's Joyner, the ball carrier, out of the running back position to the 26.
So far, it's really remarkable to watch North Carolina up front, see how much they're able to push the South Carolina offensive line back. That was a successful run, but one of the few we've seen from the Gamecocks so far.
6-yard rush for Joyner. 3rd down and 7. Rattler tripped up. Looked like he might escape for a moment, but he could not. And it's a loss back to the 22 of 4. Tripped over his own offensive lineman, the left tackle, Sidney Fugar, first-year starter.
You're going to see Fugar get pushed back just a little bit, and as Rattler is trying to escape, watch Fugar's right leg get pushed back, connecting with Spencer Rattler's left foot, and as a result, he goes down to the ground. Another nice stop from North Carolina's defense.
So Kroger on the punt. You always have to be alert for a fake. Short kick caught on the run by Huzzy. A fair catch. In good field position. The 38 a moment ago. Molly with Shane Beamer.
Coach, you told us depth in the secondary would be an issue. Nick Eamon-Worry seems to be out. Tell us what you know about him and how that hurts you guys.
Yeah, he's got a hamstring right now. That's the thing we talked about was with our youth in the secondary. We've got a true freshman in there right now, but the same thing happened last year in game 1. Our starting senior safety got hurt. Nick Eamon-Worry came in the game, played his butt off. So Jalen Kilgore's a great player. He'll do a great job. We just need to settle down. You know, we're making mistakes. We're busting some calls, things like that. But good football team we're playing. We just got to keep playing well.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
So Jalen Kilgore is in, number 24, a true freshman who enrolled in January. Here's British Brooks spinning ahead for a couple. Kilgore in on the stop. Jalen's out of Eatonton, Georgia, Putnam County High School. And what Shane Beamer said is right. Eamon-Worry, Greg didn't start in the opener last year. He came into the game and he never came out of the starting lineup. He was a freshman All-American.
Yeah, and that's the strength of the team between Eamon-Worry and DQ Smith. I mean, the back end of this defense is among the top tandems in the SEC, so hopefully he can get healthy as soon as possible.
May on a design roll. That's another thing they focused on in the offseason. More design rollouts, more play-action passes in the arsenal this year. He's chased out by Stone Blanton after a gain of 3.
Really like the plan so far from Chip Lindsey. Every time they get a little bit off schedule, they call a play that's going to make it third and more manageable. Only a few times they've been way behind the sticks tonight, so they've been staying on schedule for the most part.
3rd down and 4. North Carolina 2 out of 3 on 3rd down. They were stopped on the last possession on a 4th and 3. May given plenty of time. Now he's in trouble. Throws over the middle. Caught! 1st down. Bryson Nesbitt, one of their talented tight ends, a gain of 13.
Similar to a play they converted on a little earlier, Drake May started his eyes to the right, trying to work Nesbitt on a quick out. scrambles around, buys some time, escapes to his left, throws back across his body. You see the arm talent on display to be rolling to your right, throwing to your left, and still be accurate with enough velocity on the ball to squeeze it between defenders. That was a big-time play by Drake May.
Officials are conferring about something. 11 out of 12, the only incompletion on the 4th down. 8 different receivers, and they're without the 2 players they thought would be their top 2 wide receivers tonight. Tez Walker, a transfer from Kent State, ineligible at least for the moment. According to the NCAA, is a 2-time transfer. We'll talk more about that as time permits. He's devastated by it, as are the Tar Heels. There are a lot of people around the country who are upset about it. And Nate McCollum, who caught 60 passes at Georgia Tech last year, is out with a groin injury. They were expected to replace Josh Downs and Antoine Green, both in the NFL. May on 1st and 10, upended by Debo Williams. He still managed to get to the 38 for a gain of 5.
Man, this was a big missed opportunity there. Drake May looked like he's going to be able to work the double move to his slot receiver. He just came off it a little bit early. Might have been a walk-in to Kobe Pacer if he would have just stayed with it just a touch longer.
Omarion Hampton, the ball carrier, is very close to another 1st down.
Let's go back to that play a moment ago where Drake May took off just a touch early. Look at this route by Kobe Pacer in the slot. Fakes to the inside, buys DQ Smith, who just hesitates, and he is way behind the defense. That's a walk-in score. If Drake May's just a little bit more patient and throwing the ball for a big touchdown.
On 3rd down and 1, Hampton got the 1st down. Pacer comes back in. He came on late in the year. Josh Downs opted out of the bowl game, so Pacer had 7 catches for 98 and a touchdown in the Holiday Bowl at Petco Park against Oregon. 10 minutes to go in the half. Carolina's tied at 7. May has Pacer open and missed him. He tried to make an over-the-shoulder catch.
Man, just a slight miss there by Drake May. I mean, Pacer is way behind the defense. Walk-in touchdown, and that's the only place you can't throw it. You just can't throw it out of bounds. Even if you underthrow him, you can go up, maybe draw a penalty, high point the ball. You just have to give your receiver a chance. A really rare miss there from Drake May.
Tez Walker said one of the things that has impressed him in practicing is how accurate, how May puts the ball in exactly the right place all the time. Hampton upended. After a short gain, he got 4. Jalen Kilgore, that true freshman, in his first college game, made the stop.
Pretty impressed with how he's filling that void coming up in run support. So far, Kilgore filling some pretty big shoes of Emenwari.
Third down and 7. There was some movement along the offensive line.
Snap infraction. Offense. Number 65. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
That's the first penalty assessed to either team. It's not the first flag, but it's the first one accepted. Corey Gaynor is the center. Veteran offensive line. He's the leader of that group up front. Started every game last season after starting 28 at the University of Miami before he transferred. Very good player. 3rd down and 12. May given a nice pocket and a perfect throw. J.J. Jones. They convert on 3rd down and 12 on an 18-yard play to the junior from Myrtle Beach.
Excellent protection. Pressure being brought by South Carolina off the right-hand side. You see the running back, British Brooks, stepping up and meeting that pressure, keeping the integrity of that pocket clean as Drake May throws a strike for the conversion.
And now a flag thrown on the far sideline for illegal procedure.
Ball start. Offense. Number 5. 5-yard penalty. 1st down.
J.J. Jones just had the big catch. And Mac Brown coaching him up and encouraging him. Mac says that's why he's still coaching at 72. Wants to be a great influence on these young men. He said, I've won enough, made enough money, but as long as I feel like I'm having an impact, I'll keep coaching. The hugs might end shortly from Mac Brown, oldest coach in FBS football. He's 2 months older than Nick Saban, who will join him at 72 on Halloween.
That's got to be frustrating. You just have a big third down conversion. Remember a moment ago the official saying the clock on the field is not working. Now it's back operable, and Drake May, I think, just lost track of it.
1st and 20. Quick swing pass. Paysor gets back to the 20-yard line. DQ Smith, part of that sophomore safety tandem along with Eamon Worry, made the tackle. He started 11 games as a freshman for Shane Beamer last year. 2nd and 14, more than midway through the second quarter, tied at 7. May 13 out of 15 for 110. And that one is incomplete. Flutter ball might have been deflected. Thrown in the general direction of Andre Green. They're 3 out of 3 on third down on this drive. And for the night, May's 4 out of 4 passing on third down.
South Carolina needs to be really mindful if they're going to apply some pressure. Be mindful of Drake May's legs. They'll take off if you overrun the quarterback.
They put pressure on him, hit as he throws, and it's dropped. Gavin Blackwell might have been trying to run before he caught it. He would have had to do some work to get the first down. So they'll send the field goal unit out now on 4th and 14.
And good timing on the throw by Drake May. Getting it out under serious duress, took a big hit. And that's one that Blackwell's got to reel in. If nothing else, you make the field goal just a little bit easier for Ryan Coe.
His first field goal attempt as a Tar Heel. 19 out of 23 last year at Cincinnati. And kicked 2 years for that, prior to that, for the University of Delaware. 37-yard try. And a line drive that just hooks through inside the left upright. Looked like one of McElroy's smother hooks at Quail Hollow. You're watching the Dukes Mayo Classic, Saturday Night Football, presented by Capital One. All season long, student sections across the country are competing to be the Taco Bell Liv Moss Student Section of the Year. Download the Taco Bell app to learn more. Expected about 65,000 here tonight in Charlotte for North Carolina and South Carolina. Ryan Coe to kick off. His field goal has given North Carolina the lead. South Carolina hasn't had the ball very much. They've run only 14 plays on offense to 34 for North Carolina. The Heels have had 16 minutes 46 seconds time of possession to 6:09. For the Cocks. Coe the kickoff. Tumbling down to Leggett. Dangerous return man. Ran into his own man and survived it. And gets swung out of bounds near the 30. Ryan Coe, the kicker, in on the tackle. 28-yard return. Back to Charlotte in just a moment.
Dukes Mayo Classic, Saturday Night Football, presented by Capital One, is brought to you by Dukes, the official Mayo of the tailgate.
Well, there's the Dukes Mayo Classic, and in the postseason, the Dukes Mayo Bowl. That's Shane Beamer after they beat North Carolina, the Dukes Mayo Bowl at the end of the 2021 season. I mean, it's bad enough to get the Mayo off the head, but they hit him in the head with the bucket. He had to go in concussion protocol.
That's That's a tough one. I think he bounced back, though. Something tells me the sweet taste of victory and mayonnaise is a winning combination.
Yeah. Dukes Mayo and the Charlotte Sports Foundation are announcing the extension of the bowl and the classic, so the mayonnaise celebration dumps may live on. We thank Joe Tusa, president of Dukes Mayo, for a pregame visit. He brought us some goodies. Rattler throws wide open. The throw back to Leggett. He's across midfield and powering down near the 40-yard line. He's big and strong at 6'3", 227. He took some Tar Heels along for the ride.
I love the design. A complete handoff, fake the bootleg, set up, throwback. But how about the run after catch by Leggett?
Fifth-year senior. Here's Amarian Brown down the far sideline. Some leaky defense for North Carolina on this possession. Back-to-back big gainers. That one goes for 22.
And here comes the tempo from Dowell Logans.
They change it to 20 on the official stats. Juju McDowell, the ball carrier, dragged down by Miles Murphy, the senior defensive end, who they hope will have a mammoth year. They think he's capable of it. Gene Chizik said the defensive front seven is our strength. Those outstanding linebackers behind Desmond Evans and Kevin Hester Jr. and Murphy up front. Some capable backups. Rattler in the flat, caught. Juju McDowell inside the 10, the 5, and bang down at the 1. 27 more. Dowell Logans, go, go, go. The offensive coordinator wants them to line up with the heels on their heels. McDowell, touchdown. First lead of the game for South Carolina. Big play after big play on that drive. 72 yards in 5 plays. Took just a minute and 49 to do it. McDowell the touchdown. Junior from Bainbridge, Georgia. We had 2 rushing touchdowns as a backup last year. Marshawn Lloyd was their leading running back, and he transferred to Southern California. McDowell is the only player on their team who rushed for more than 100 yards last year for South Carolina. So here's Mitch Jeter with Hunter Rogers, the long snapper, and Kai Kroger, the holder. They return all of the important people in this unit. Miles Murphy looked like he made contact. Rattler on that drive was 3 out of 3 for 71 yards. He's 8 for 9 for the game for 140, picking up right where he left off at the end of last season.
Offside. Defense. Jumped in the neutral zone, calls an offensive player to move. Penalty is half the distance. Try.
There's some thought on the sideline about going for 2. Shane Beamer says nope, let's kick it. But then again, the fake extra point is not out of the realm of possibility with Beamer and Pete Lembo's special teams. Jeter kicks it. It's a 4-point Gamecock lead.
Well, Gene Chizik's defense has been really good so far tonight. The first time they've busted all game long leads to a big reception by Juju McDowell. Dowell Logans decides to put the foot pedal on the gas, and the Gamecocks punch it in for the go-ahead score.
Time for tonight's Aflac trivia question. Drake May was the ACC Player of the Year last season. You want to know, prior to Drake winning that, who was the last North Carolina player to win the ACC Player of the Year? I hope you're not going to be like my former partner Todd Blackledge and cheat.
No, I will not cheat. I have somewhat of an idea. I would think ACC Player of the Year.
You have an idea because you're at the production meeting this morning when they played a tape.
Well, fair enough.
But
you're giving me a little too much credit. You're assuming I can connect the dots.
Mitch Jeter with the touchback. Well, here's the answer. And the answer is Lawrence Taylor, 1980. Was he good? Then number 98. Of course, that was the last year that North Carolina won the ACC in football.
Yeah, my parents, they wouldn't let me watch highlights of him because of what he did to quarterbacks. I mean, he was that disruptive,
That's
man.
good parenting.
I think so. Yeah, I mean, I probably would have never played. Probably be working in finance somewhere. But either way, man, my goodness, what a talent. Changed the game forever.
North Carolina picked 3rd in the ACC preseason poll behind Clemson and Florida State. Short throw by Drake May and a catch by Kamari Morales. Right now there are 14 teams playing ACC football. Of course, Notre Dame interspersed in there. And more to come with the announcement yesterday that Cal, Stanford, and SMU will join the ACC next year, and they'll have 18 teams in the conference. British Brooks. The short gain. Stone Blanton another tackle from the middle linebacker spot. A pickup of 2. Here comes 3rd down. And 4. Or a long 3.
North Carolina had a ton of success those first few drives, really working the perimeter. Going right at this South Carolina defense is going to be incredibly difficult. Their strongest attributes, especially with E-Man Worry being out, are right there in between the tackles at defensive tackles. So they're going to have to get a little more creative on the edge.
5-man pressure, now a 6th. May has a man open, caught. 1st down and much more. Kamari Morales, the graduate student from Buck Lake, Florida. Good for 28 on the 1st down.
And just a really neat design right there. You have a guy breaking to the inside, another guy breaking the inside. You get Morales on a corner route. Really not often part of the progression unless he just screams wide open. Drake May recognized it and hit it beautifully for a beautiful conversion.
Morales has 10 career touchdown catches, most by any tight end in North Carolina history. British Brooks inside the 35, showing some maneuverability on his way to a 6-yard gain. Brian Thomas Jr. made the tackle for South Carolina.
And that's going to be, I think, where North Carolina needs to continue to live in the run game. If they're just going to go straight downhill between the tackles, that's going to be problematic. But if you can get to the edges, that's where you might be able to find some success, because South Carolina had a difficult time containing running backs on the perimeter last year.
They gave up 198 yards rushing last year per game. Here's a deep throw, wide open receiver, Paysor with the North Carolina touchdown. 34 yards, and the Tar Heels go back on top.
Such a difficult spot to be in for the defender. Flat foot. Paysor's got a full head of steam. Sets him up beautifully to the inside. Gets behind him. Drake May missed this throw a little bit earlier to his left. But a great quarterback like him's not going to miss it again. He hits him in stride. A nice answer for the Tar Heels.
16 out of 20 in the season opener for Drake May. That's his first touchdown throw of the season. They go 75 yards in 5 plays, and the extra point knocked right down the middle by Ryan Coe. May 3 for 3 on that drive for 67 yards. 2:50 to go in an entertaining first half.
Gage halftime report minutes away. Kevin Nagani, Booger McFarland, and Dan Orlovsky. We just saw Drake May throw his first touchdown pass of the season. Caleb Williams lighting things up right now.
And Caleb Williams 15 of 20 in the first half for 250 yards. It started with Shedeur Sanders. We're going to blame the quarterback play all on him today. high levels of it.
Yeah, we're not going to blame them. I think TCU will, though. Over 500 yards. Colorado, fantastic day.
Yeah, 87 new players, 21-point underdogs to go on the road and playing that heat. Outstanding job of Prime getting his team mentally ready.
We got the highlights of Coach Prime plus the reaction after their stunning upset of TCU. We'll see you guys at the half. Sean?
We know who's not happy about that. Andy Dalton, now with the Carolina Panthers, of course, played his college football with distinction at TCU. What a performance. George Sanders, 510 yards for his dad. And the debut for both of them with Colorado. That was the school record.
I mean, other than Shedeur Sanders, I mean, Travis Hunter.
Yeah, Travis Hunter threw himself right into the Heisman thing today, too, playing both ways. And outstanding on both sides of the ball. The touchback. So we'll remind you that Monday night features a Week 1 matchup in the ACC. The conference favorites, number 9 Clemson, against the dangerous Duke team that won 9 games last year under Mike Elko in his first year. What a job he's doing. Here's the college football playoff rankings brought to you by Verbo. Georgia, back-to-back national champions, trying to go for a three-peat. Michigan impressive today without Jim Harbaugh. Ohio State a winner as well. Rattler hands it off up the middle. DK Joyner, a hard-earned yard, right into Power Eccles, who will hit you hard. He lost his helmet. He's going to have to come out. Junior from right here in Charlotte, Power Eccles.
Talking to Cedric Gray yesterday, said Power Eccles would routinely, as a true freshman, put offensive linemen on their behind when he would
time and time again.
He said over and over and over again. There were a few scrums after the play, after the whistle every once in a while in Tar Heel practice because of Power Eccles. But you can see that he can deliver a blow, that's for sure.
Sure can. Big edge in time of possession, a number of plays, but it's been big plays for South Carolina. That's their 21st play. 4 of them are 20 yards or more, and that one came up just shy of that with 19 yards. So the Carolina defense gouged last year, giving up some big plays again in the opener.
Yeah, and unfortunately, their best playmaker so far tonight, Xavier Legette, a little banged up on that play, kind of got rolled up.
He's already had a career high in receiving yards for a game with 82 on 3 catches. That's 78 receiving yards on 7 grabs against Notre Dame in the bowl game last year.
Just hope he's okay. He's really blocking for his teammate, doing a great job. Has to hold on to it for a long time. And you see the defender there for North Carolina just kind of fall into his left leg. Hopefully he'll be okay.
Looks like he is. Joyner in trouble and dumped behind the line of scrimmage. Penetration again by Kamen Rucker, and he's going to be a force in the other team's backfield all season long.
Yeah, they think he has a really high ceiling, has gotten so much stronger, and really has developed that twitch off the edge.
Flag down before the snap. South Carolina has rushed 12 times for just 3 yards.
Prior to snap, ball start, offense, number 3, 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
We asked Shane Beamer why Dow Loggins, Marcus Satterfield, the offensive coordinator last year, went to Nebraska to work with Matt Rule, and he said he met Dow Loggins years ago. They've always stayed in touch when Dow was in the NFL. Whenever Shane was in that city, he'd go visit. Always liked him, liked his approach to coaching. Joyner, the run after the catch. There are flags down. And it was interesting. He has an NFL background. Shane Rattler wanted to improve with an eye toward the NFL. So before he hired Loggins, he had Shane Rattler talk to Dow Loggins.
Offense, number 89, 10-yard penalty, 2nd down.
Omega Blake, the holding penalty, and obviously that conversation went very well.
Yeah, I've known Dow Loggins for 12 years, and I think he's just one of the nicest human beings you can ever be around. And for a guy like Spencer Rattler that's had some ups and downs, that has had some emotional battles, I think he's exactly the right guy to take over this role. Spent time with Kendall Briles at Arkansas last year, developed more of a college feel, better understanding of tempo and things that are going to allow your offense to play fast, but he still is incorporating a lot of the college concepts that Spencer's used with success in the past.
Luke Doty, a backup quarterback, is part of that 3-receiver bunch, and they throw it to him. Former starting quarterback for the Gamecocks. And he carries it out to the 46-yard line, well shy of the first down by about 9 yards.
Well, Orlovsky, everybody, Blackledge, we'll all tell you, the quarterbacks all think you have the best hands on the team until you actually are running across the middle. Doty right there showing he can do it.
12-yard play. Rattler taken down, a sack. At the 47-yard line, Cedric Gray. Bo Atkinson also involved in the pressure, where a Carolina defense that had only 20 sacks all of last season.
Gene Chizik told you from the jump, I got to be more aggressive, did so beautifully right there, and drops Rattler for a sack.
It's 4th and 13. They're letting the clock run down. I actually gave them credit. They had 17 sacks, not 20. It was South Carolina that had only 20. They were 2 of the worst in the country in sacks. And Gene Chizik, as you said, took some of the blame, Greg. We talked to him, said I need to be much more aggressive.
I'm a little surprised there too. Mac Brown and North Carolina, you have all those timeouts. It's 4th and long. Of course, South Carolina is always a danger to fake a punt or a field goal. I'm surprised he didn't burn one. Drake May's been ridiculously on fire. And you have a couple timeouts at your disposal to go try to steal some points before the half. So I'm a little surprised at the sequence there by Mac Brown and the Tar Heel coaching staff.
I think he's figuring as sound as South Carolina is in the kicking game, they're going to kick you down around the 20-yard line, 15-yard line. And this is not necessarily the yardage you'd expect to fake, but this is Beamer ball 2.0. Shane, the son of Frank, legendary for his special teams when he was the head coach at Virginia Tech. Coached the special teams units himself with the Hokies. 58-yard punt into the end zone, a touchback.
And I'm watching Drake May in person for the first time. As you can see, this is how his night got started. Little roll to the left. Been so accurate. Has done a great job of assessing the rush. He did this all last year. This is one of his strengths. And look at just how agile he is, making the guy miss in the second level. I absolutely love this throw over the middle. It's really well defended, really well protected, and he just throws a guy right in the middle, and a perfect touchdown pass to Pacer on that inside slot fade. And Sean, I'm really, really hesitant to make ridiculous comparisons. I really try hard.
But you're about to.
But I have to. Yeah, the big butt was coming, and you sensed it. I'm glad that even though in our first game working together, you know me well enough to finish my sentences. In person, he reminds me of Joe Burrow.
Drake May.
Very athletic, very underrated athleticism, unbelievable touch on the deep ball, very, very accurate. I think the skill set is really comparable at the college level.
Well, he was fantastic. Rattler was as well in this matchup with two of the very best quarterbacks in the country. Here's Molly McGrath.
Coach, what do you think about your team's ability to respond after South Carolina's go-ahead touchdown?
That was a huge drive to go back on top, because that last 5 minutes of the half and the first 5 minutes of the second half, which we get the ball, is huge, because leading at halftime is such a huge indicator that gives you a better chance to win. And when we kick the field goal, which we can't kick field goals and beat Spencer Rattler, they were self-inflicted wounds. We dropped 2 passes, we had a delay of game, and we had a motion penalty. So, and then we gave up an easy touchdown with 5 plays. So we got to settle down. We got to make sure that we do what we do best, and we've told them that. Be confident, be consistent, get your respect back, and be tough and finish. Now we got to finish.
All right, thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Sean.
He's looking for his 100th career win at North Carolina, already the winningest coach in school history. The Dish halftime report comes your way after this message and a word from our ABC stations. Welcome back to the Dukes Mayo Classic. Saturday night football presented by Capital One from Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte. neutral site for this border rivalry. North Carolina leading South Carolina as we get ready for the second half. 17-14. Two of the most talented quarterbacks in the country and putting those talents on display. Drake May, 16 for 20 for 177 and a touchdown. He completed balls to 9 different receivers. Rattler 10 out of 11. Spencer for South Carolina, just 6 yards fewer. He completed his last 9 of the half. He completed passes to 6 different receivers. And both teams missing some people on offense, but it hasn't hurt the quarterbacks. They've been terrific, and it's been a very entertaining game.
Well, it was billed coming into it as arguably the best quarterback matchup that we'll see in college football all season long, and a combined 26 of 31 did very little to change our mind on that possibility. I mean, both guys have been decisive. They've been accurate. A couple times they've taken some hits, and yet still were able to deliver the football to their intended receiver right on the button to allow that receiver to continue on. And several of the incompletions have been drops. I mean, it really has been workmanlike from both Drake May and Spencer Rattler in the first 30 minutes.
North Carolina will get the ball first. George Pettaway back for the kickoff. He nearly took one the distance in their bowl game loss in the Holiday Bowl to Oregon. Had a 56-yard return, got tripped up at the very last minute. He's dangerous. But Mitch Jeter more often than not kicks touchbacks. 50 of his 75 last year were not returned. Ran into Dow Loggins, the offensive coordinator for South Carolina, here in the press level as he returned to the box from halftime. He said, we just need more plays. That was a big part of the first half. North Carolina ran 40 plays to 25 for South Carolina, and North Carolina had a 9-minute edge in time of possession, 19.5 to 10.5.
And it's clear that Gene Chizik, the defensive coordinator for North Carolina, is saying, hey, every time Spencer Rattler hands it off, that's a win. I mean, they're selling out against the run. So they have not allowed South Carolina any space in the run game, averaging just under half a yard per carry. And they're going to have to try to find some balance in the second half to take some of the pressure off those wide receivers.
Apparently too much Duke's Mayo at the half for the chain gang. That's the first time I've ever seen that in all the years of doing this. The delay because the chain guys were late coming back from halftime.
Good hustle shown, though, in the recovery. I mean, it's not about the mistake you make. It's about how you bounce back from it, you know.
I think they feel really good about it right now. Jeter onside kicks. And South Carolina, they recover the onside kick. It was Jeter, the kicker. More special teams magic for Shane Beamer and Pete Lembo.
Just a beautiful touch from Jeter. You can see it goes exactly the right distance. I mean, you could tell they've been practicing that one all off season, all throughout fall camp.
My goodness.
And they steal a possession. Pete Lembo, the South Carolina special teams coordinator, does it again. He's the best in America, man. Just incredible.
And Shane Beamer with the background as well as the son of Frank. Rattler, after the big play, wanted to launch one deep. He throws and it's incomplete. Think back to the opening game last year for South Carolina against Georgia State. This is all they did on special teams in the opener last year. Blocked 2 punts for touchdowns, had 2 field goals of 50+, punted 7 times for a 49-yard average with no punt return yardage, allowed no kickoff return yardage, had a successful fake field goal that led to a touchdown, and had a 69-yard punt return. That was just in the opener.
That's a career for some
They were
team.
struggling against Georgia State on offense. Would not have won that game without Pete Lembo's special teams magic. 6-yard gain for Joyner.
And I vote for the Broyles Award every year. That's the best assistant coach in America. I actually voted Pete Lembo #1. I thought he impacted games.
I agree with you. There are a lot of great candidates.
A lot of great candidates. I had him at #1 on my ballot.
On third down, the pass incomplete to the far sideline. intended for Marion Brown, with Tayon Holloway, the redshirt freshman, in coverage. And it's 4th down, and the offense still on the field for South Carolina with 4 yards to go. Rattler throws incomplete. Intended for Brown again. Looked like he was trying to turn up the field before the ball got there. And South Carolina turns it over on downs.
And it was a perfectly thrown ball from Spencer Rattler. I mean, you cannot throw that any better, especially to your left as a right-handed passer. Just an unfortunate drop there by A.B. Brown. What a stand there for North Carolina defensively after the Gamecocks stole the possession.
And you wonder about the health of Juice Wells, who had a foot injury in the preseason. He's been targeted only once and does not have a catch. He had 68 catches last year, more than twice as many as any other Gamecock. Drake May on 1st down. Bryson Nesbitt held on for a 4-yard gain. Here's Molly.
Well, Sean, I talked to head coach Shane Beamer at the half. He said that Antoine Juice Wells is out for the rest of the game with that foot injury he sustained this past summer. And he was really frustrated at halftime with their inconsistency and the fact that they haven't been able to convert on 3rd downs. They're not sustaining drives. He said North Carolina's controlling the time of possession, and injuries are killing us. It's next man up, but the next man up is a true freshman.
And yet they're only down by 3. British Brooks, the ball carrier. DQ Smith made the stop. But the areas that Coach Beamer told us he thought they were most thin were in the secondary and at wide receiver, and they've lost their best player in each of those position groups in this game. Nick Eamon-Warry to a hamstring very early, replaced by Jalen Kilgore, and now Wells not able to go after the preseason foot injury. North Carolina 6 out of 8 on 3rd down.
This is a play that was very successful for North Carolina earlier, hitting their running back British Brooks in the slot on the quick out route.
They want a timeout with the play clock about to expire.
First charge timeout, North Carolina.
North Carolina leads by 3 in the opening 2 minutes of the 2nd half. A red moon over the Queen City of Charlotte, North Carolina. Our aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. Road tested and game ready. Are you ready for the road? Goodyear more driven. Both these teams are on the road. Neutral site game. Drake May about 2 hours from the North Carolina campus. The Gamecocks an hour and a half away from Columbia. And a good one. 17-14 North Carolina. They have 3rd down and 4. Just inside Gamecock territory. British Brooks looked like he came up about a foot short, and I'm guessing Mac Brown is going to go for that aggressive approach.
One would assume, and with a big body quarterback, they've used it in the past. They used it last year. You don't often see Drake May under center, but when you do, you can mostly expect quarterback sneak. It looks like they're coming in a wildcat formation.
South Carolina just did get men on and off. They're 0 for 1 on 4th down tonight. British Brooks lined up as the wildcat. British Brooks, 1st down and much more.
Just a great job of pulling around the edge. This is really nicely done by Willie Lampkin. See big number 53 just surging, and the great job too on the right side by Amarian Hampton, who is also out in front. Just a great surge there by North Carolina.
Lampkin is the only new starter, and he just transferred in from Coastal Carolina, where he was outstanding. May toward the end zone, diving catch. Gavin Blackwell for 41. 1st and goal Tar Heels. They're racing to the ball at the 1-yard line. Hampton, the running back. Hampton walks in. Touchdown. And it's the first 2 scored late of the night for either team. Hampton, his second 1-yard touchdown of the night. Another quick strike engineered by Drake May. 6 plays, 53 yards, 2:43 to do it. May is 18 out of 22 for 219 and a touchdown now. And the extra point good by Coe. They said they wanted to run the ball more. They were 55% pass last year. They've had 24 rushing plays, only 22 passes tonight.
And a great job in the pocket, too, by Drake May. You see number 0, Debo Williams. He's free, unblocked. Drake May drifts to his left, throws a strike, and they follow it up with some tempo with the walk-in from Marion Hampton. Just a thing of beauty, a great 2-play sequence after the 4th down conversion by the Tar Heel offense.
So Hampton with a couple of touchdowns. And it's a 10-point lead for North Carolina. Hampton, Gatorade Player of the Year in North Carolina, as a senior in high school. He averaged 12.1 yards per carry. That might get you the Player of the Year award. Cleveland High School. He's from Clayton, North Carolina.
Like if you stop him short of a first down, you did an amazing job. I mean, 12 per.
Yeah, if you're pretty much going to get a first down every time he carries the ball, you would keep giving it to him.
I wonder if their quarterback put any numbers up.
Ryan Coe kicks off. And did that get in the end zone? Yes, it just barely. Is a touchback. Here's Kevin Nagandi.
Sean, time now for our All-State Good Hands play. We may already have the catch of the year, and it only requires one hand. Texas State's Joey Hobert. Are you kidding me? Yeah, he got the 1 foot inbounds while holding on with one paw. Right now, Texas State up 35-24 over Baylor. Back to you guys.
My goodness. Texas State.
How about that?
Trying to knock off Baylor.
G.J. Kinney, first game as a head coach.
Jew.
That's my guy.
Rocking the knowledge.
Texas high school football quarterbacks stick together, man.
DK Joyner, they just can't get the running game going. He got a yard. Kevin Hester Jr. in the middle of that defensive line for North Carolina. Just about a 2-to-1 edge in time of possession. Now Logan said at the half, we need more plays. And Joyner stumbled. It was interesting, too, because we talked to Mac Brown yesterday, and his defensive staff, Gene Chiswick, said, we have no idea what to expect from South Carolina on offense.
Right.
You know, Dow Loggins was in the NFL a long time. The last couple of years he was at Arkansas. Is he going to do Arkansas stuff? Is he going to do what he did in the NFL? Is he going to do what South Carolina did last year with some success with Spencer Rattler? 3rd down and 10. And he is sacked. Amari Gaynor, the transfer from Florida State.
And just full movement across. And you're going to see Gaynor, who comes free off the edge. Look at the offensive line, all squeezed down to the left. Gaynor's wide open and drops Spencer Rattler, who tries to escape. That's just a well-timed and well-designed pressure. That's a simulated pressure. Only 4 guys were coming after Spencer Rattler, but the way they bought the offensive line to the left, it was a problem.
Kroger's punt is short, and a fair catch made by Elijah Huzzy, just a 38-yard punt. 3 sacks for North Carolina. They had 17 all of last season. They said they'd be more aggressive. They have been, and it's working. On ESPN next Saturday, 7 o'clock. What a matchup. Early season marquee non-conference matchup. Number 11, Texas. Number 4, Alabama. Pat McAfee and his bunch will have an alternate broadcast on ESPN2. Nick Saban, number 1 among active head coaches in FBS wins. Mac Brown, by the way, that total doesn't reflect his 6 wins at Appalachian State. He has 274 total. But they are the 2 winningest active coaches in FBS wins. Each national championship winner. Sidearm throw by Drake May. It got through to John Copenhaver. And it's all the way to the 38, and you get the sense that South Carolina is on the ropes right now.
Yeah, for sure. And we talked a little earlier and compared him to Joe Burrow. How about we compare him for a moment to Pat Mahomes? Dropping that arm sideways, throwing it around 2 defenders, putting it right between the 8 and the 1 for Copenhaver. And another great play by Drake May.
Pistol now with Hampton, the running back. May fake to the opposite side. Looked a little messed up. Bryson Nesbitt made the catch for a 4-yard gain. Nesbitt's dad was a great player at South Carolina. Jamar, 3 times an all-SEC offensive lineman. He's in the Gamecocks Hall of Fame. He went on to play in the NFL, won a Super Bowl with New Orleans. Hampton remains the running back. And he delivered a hit. He rocked DQ Smith, just stood him right up. And absolutely no penetration up front right now by that Gamecock defense. They might be tired with all the time they've been on the field.
Yeah, nice finish there by the North Carolina running back. Lampkin just really, really physical up front so far from the Tar Heels offensive line. They're significantly improved.
And good balance run and pass. Hampton again inside the 25 for a 6-yard gain. Here William Barnes is a returning starter left tackle. Ed Montelis at left guard, making his 30th career start. Gainers, we mentioned, is the center. Willie Lampkin, the transfer, will be the right guard, but right now Jonathan Adorno, a backup, is in. And Spencer Rowan, the Harvard transfer, is the right tackle. And they've done a nice job tonight. They gave up a lot of sacks last year. They gave up 40, but Matt Brown said a lot of that's on Drake May, just holding the ball too long.
And he's done a really good job of being decisive, getting the ball out, getting it down to his check down. Last year, he waited too long for the deep ball to present itself. He's just getting off of that deep ball if it's not there, checking it down, and being a little bit more methodical with how he's distributing the football.
115th in sacks allowed out of the 131 a year ago. 3rd down and 4. May, another design rollout. And a first down. Pesor out of bounds at the 18-yard line.
I love how Chip Lindsey, the new offensive coordinator, is using bunches and stacks and motions to try to create favorable matchups for Kobe Pesor, who's really done a good job stepping up tonight. Wasn't sure exactly what the pecking order was going to be at wide receiver, but Pesor has answered the call to become the #1 go-to option in the passing attack for Drake May.
In the absence of Tez Walker and Nate McCollum, they think those two would be their top wide receivers if healthy and if eligible. May, under duress, managed to get rid of the ball. Tonka Hemingway provided the pressure. There's Tez Walker. We mentioned it earlier. Ineligible to play tonight by ruling of the NCAA, who considers him a 2-time transfer. It's a complicated story. He started his career at NC Central, but never played a game there. They did not play the 2020 season due to COVID, so he transferred to Kent State, played 2 years there. Then their entire coaching staff left, and he transferred to North Carolina in January. Drake May to the end zone, and a catch! John Copenhaver, an 18-yard touchdown, now flag after the touchdown. Tyreek Johnson put pressure on Drake May, and he just lofted it up, and Copenhaver won the one-on-one battle in the end zone. Well, there was a flag. It was thrown well after the play.
Results of the play is a touchdown. After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct, number 81. This is his first. That 15-yard penalty be assessed on the succeeding kickoff. Try.
And this is a heck of a play by Drake May. All out pressure. Drake May knows it. He drifts a little bit to buy time, but on the left side of the offensive line is Tyreek Johnson, the big body, 280-pound defensive end. Drake May throws up a prayer, and Copenhaver somehow is able to drag it in. When it's your night, and Drake May is having himself a heck of a performance.
Coe adds the extra point. Second career touchdown catch for John Copenhaver, the junior from Roswell, Georgia. Hadn't had one since 2021. It's a 17-point Tar Heel lead.
Kevin Agani in studio time now for our Chick-fil-A move on the field as we head to L.A. Stanley Toffolo living a defensive lineman's dream. Whoop, there he goes for the score, and USC is just rolling 66-14 in the fourth quarter. Sean, Greg, Molly, back to you.
All right, thank you. There's country music star Eric Church, big Tar Heel fan, North Carolina native. Their honorary captain tonight. Darius Rucker here, by the way, for South Carolina. Darius sang the national anthem, but that's a Tez Walker jersey that Church has on in support of the wide receiver who's ineligible. We'll get more into that story in just a moment. There's Walker on the sideline. He's hoping to play in his first game as a Tar Heel tonight. He's a Charlotte native. Said it's always been his dream to play here in Charlotte. He had about 30 friends and family who had bought tickets. There's Coe's kickoff, or would have come to the game on his tickets. Xavier Legette stacked up shy of the 30-yard line. 16-yard return. Well, we started to tell the story, and then the touchdown happened. Started NC Central. They canceled the season. He never played at a game there. Went to Kent State, played 2 years. Had a tremendous year last year. First team All-MAC. 58 catches, 11 touchdowns. Transferred to North Carolina, as I said, after his coaching staff left. And 2 days later is when the NCAA changed the rule, saying if you're a second-time transfer, you have to sit out a year. But for some reason, he wasn't grandfathered in. Here's Spencer Rattler running. And Greg, yesterday, the North Carolina people told us, well, the NCAA told us they actually made that decision several months before that, but didn't announce it till January. Well, how is he supposed to know?
It's ridiculous.
It is, and Mac Brown had the right quote. The NCAA cares about process, not people. And this all happened back in January. So why hasn't this been resolved by now? You know, they said Thursday he wouldn't be able to play in this game, but he has another hearing with another committee coming up this Thursday.
And I really hope the committee this upcoming Thursday does the right thing. It's absolutely ridiculous. If nothing else, he didn't play at his original school. Season got canceled. Football was taken from him. He transferred, trying to find an opportunity onto the field during the 2020 season, did so at Kent State. Kent State is fully supportive of Tez Walker playing. It's absolutely ridiculous that the NCAA is digging in. They need to do the right thing.
Posted a letter that he wrote to Charlie Baker, the new president of the NCAA, on Instagram. Very emotional, very heartfelt, imploring Charlie Baker to do the right thing. And again, I know there's a process, but if Charlie Baker has that kind of power, please do the right thing. You know, Charlie Baker was our governor in Massachusetts. He was very well liked. I don't mean to make this political at all. He's a smart guy. You know, part of what he needs to do is clean up nonsense like this that's happened for decades at the NCAA. Somebody please do something. There's a sack by Bo Atkinson. Rattler taken down back at the 40-yard line. Fourth sack for North Carolina. Here's Molly McGrath.
Well, Sean, I spoke with Tez Walker before the game. He told me he genuinely thought he would be able to play in this first game and was shocked and in tears when he learned last night that he was still ineligible. And you mentioned he had 30 family and friends who bought tickets. They still decided to come because they thought as of last night he would be playing in this game. His grandmother, who is ill, is even here. And he said it's been an emotional week, but he wouldn't be able to get through all of this if it weren't for the support of Mac Brown in this community. He said it was so cool to see Eric Church wearing his jersey before the game, and he's been in good spirits on the sideline. I heard him yelling up at some of the fans, my quarterback is going to win the Heisman, so he's excited to catch some passes from him, Sean.
His grandmother had never seen him play in person. They were all hoping that was going to happen tonight. Shame on the NCAA. The Week 2 ACC Network football lineup starts Saturday. Wake Forest hosting Vanderbilt at 11 a.m. It continues through number 8 Florida State hosting Southern Miss at 8:30 Eastern. Every game is available on the ESPN app, so you can watch anywhere. Jim Phillips, the commissioner of the ACC, happy with the way this one is going. His North Carolina Tar Heels in command at the moment. 4.5 to go in the third quarter, leading 31-14. And Amarion Hampton, the ball carrier. Jim was very happy about the expansion that was approved by the conference presidents on Friday, welcoming Cal and Stanford and SMU. North Carolina had come out against it. They needed 12 out of the 15 to vote for it, and that happened. North Carolina, Florida State, and Clemson believed to have been against it, but it passed, and Jim believes there is strength in numbers. British Brooks, the catch, will join in all sports, but coming in at a reduced payout. I mean, they're not getting the same shares of the media deals that the other schools are getting.
30% of the distribution that the other schools receive, that's what Cal and Stanford will receive, and then SMU foregoing any revenue from the conference with the exception of the college football playoff until 9 years.
British Brooks. What a return to action for British. Missed all last season with a knee injury. The last game he played in was here against South Carolina, the Duke's Mayo Bowl 2 years ago.
So much for North Carolina in their rushing attack tonight has been cut back. That was one of the few times tonight that British Brooks and these Tar Heel running backs bounced it to the outside, and there was a ton of room there. You could tell South Carolina was kind of playing inside, anticipating the cutback. Brooks saw it and turned it into a big gain.
29 yards, giving him 72, which is exactly what he rushed for against South Carolina, the Duke's Mayo Bowl here. At the end of the 2021 season, you saw the graphic. He had a 63-yard touchdown run in that game, which is the longest in Duke's Mayo Bowl history. Very popular player, as you mentioned, came unheralded, earned his way through special teams 2 years in a row, a special teams MVP, and now their lead ball carrier, along with Hampton dividing the carries tonight. May under pressure, got it off and threw an interception. Picked off. Boy, did South Carolina need that. O'Donnell Fortune with the interception.
Just an absolutely massive play for South Carolina. As you can see, O.D. Fortune gets beat initially, but doesn't give up and undercuts the route after May misses just a little bit inside. There's great pressure applied by South Carolina in the front. As you can see, Stone Blanton delivering a big hit to May as he released the ball. That was a massive play for South Carolina, almost a gotta-have-it situation.
First turnover of the game for either team. Rattler comes out firing, a low throw, handled by Leggett for a 6-yard gain. It's the third career interception for O'Donnell Fortune. He's had him in back-to-back games now. He had a 100-yard interception return for a touchdown against Notre Dame in the Tax Slayer Gator Bowl. Down for a big loss. Juju McDowell. Kamen Rucker again with the penetration.
How about this movement right here up front by Kamen Rucker? Look at him slide inside the right tackle. That's Sidney Fugar, and drops McDowell in the backfield, just continuing to see disruption from this North Carolina defensive line.
Whiffed by Fugar, first year at South Carolina, transfer from Western Illinois. Rattler did well to stay on his feet, and he runs out of bounds with a first down. Chased out by Rucker, an 11-yard pickup. for Spencer Rattler.
Big question for South Carolina coming into the season. New tackles, will they be able to hold up? Well, they're getting pushed back into Rattler's lap, and that was a great job of stepping up in the pocket, buying a little time, and then taking off for a big third down conversion.
Mostly new offensive line. Rattler throwing deep. Receiver had a step, but it's over Omega Blake's head. Coverage from Tayon Holloway. You wonder if he has a cramp after he came off the field. Luke Doty is back on the field for South Carolina along the far hash marks. He had his first career catch in the first half. Ordinarily a quarterback. He's Rattler's backup. Screen to Juju McDowell. And he's down short of the first down. Vershawn Lee, the center out there, helping lead the way. He's a first-year starter at center. They had to replace Eric Douglas, who started 38 games for South Carolina.
Be alert here if you're North Carolina defense. This might be an opportunity for South Carolina to try to take a shot over the top. Fresh set of downs and plus territory. This is typical shot down.
Rattler, final seconds of the quarter. And I believe they're going to call that a sack down before he threw the ball away. Desmond Evans was there for North Carolina. Senior who missed much of last year after tearing a pec. Got in only 7 games. They think they'll be better on defense in part because he has returned.
And a heck of a move right here by Desmond Evans. Look at him spin up inside against Jackson Hughes and forces Spencer Rattler to the ground.
Aerial coverage provided by Goodyear, celebrating the challenge of road games everywhere. Are you ready for the road? Goodyear more driven. On to the fourth quarter we go at Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte. The Dukes Mayo Classic. Tight game early. North Carolina opened it up in the third quarter. They had a 17-14 halftime lead. They scored 2 touchdowns unanswered in the third quarter, and a false start before Spencer Rattler can snap it on the first play of the fourth quarter.
False start. Offense, number 55. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
Ja'Kai Moore, the right guard. I think they have a concern here going forward, the offensive line.
Yeah, they need to get it addressed big time, and it doesn't help at all that Casey Henry went down early in this game, but these tackles have been pushed around by a defensive front that last year had their fair share of challenges.
Rattler right on cue, throws it away along the far sideline. North Carolina has 5 sacks tonight. The most they had in any game last year was 3 against Florida A&M. There is a flag down.
Holding. Defense, number 20.
Tayon Holloway. Jeff Heasley, the referee, seems perplexed.
Defense, number 20. 10-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
That's a big one too, because it was going to be 3rd down and 24 if the incompletion stood. So they're out to the 49. Down by 3 scores. Totally unable to run the ball tonight. South Carolina 15 yards rushing. So they throw for Leggett, trying to make another acrobatic catch. And he ripped it away from Tayon Holloway.
Oh my goodness, Xavier Leggett, man. This guy has been a completely different person since last year. He returned a kickoff against Texas A&M, and it's as if the light went on. The guy's playing insanely confident. Is just an absolute monster with the ball in his air.
6'3", 227. And a flag thrown on the tackle. Brown taken down by Don Chapman, the veteran defensive back, senior from San Diego, returning starter. Crowd doesn't like the flag.
Personal foul. Defense, number 2. Penalties half minutes to go. Automatic.
At least the part of the crowd in Carolina blue.
Yeah, and it's really about lifting the offensive player in the air and trying to throw him down. That is excessive contact. That's going to be called every single time. You have him held up. His forward progress is stopped. Just continue to drive and hang on as long as you can. There's no need to pick him up and then throw him to the ground.
First and goal, South Carolina, just outside the 6. Swing pass, Juju McDowell chopped down by Tayon Holloway, who would not have been a starting corner had it not been for the injury to DeAndre Boykins. They thought this redshirt freshman would be a backup corner behind Marcus Allen and Elijah Huzzy, but Boykins out, Huzzy moves to star. Holloway in at the other corner opposite Marcus Allen. Second and goal. McDowell dancing along the right side, got just inside the 5. And if you're South Carolina, don't you have to pick up the tempo here a little bit, Craig? I mean, there's 13.5 minutes to go, and there's no urgency at all in the offensive operation.
Especially with the struggles they've had on defense. I mean, the first 3 quarters of the game giving up over 400 yards of offense. They've had some problems. I almost think, too, it's starting to think about possibility of 4-down territory depending on which game here.
13 minutes to go, down by 17. Rattler tripped up. Looked like he might escape, but Tamari Fox said no. Six sacks for North Carolina.
Just a great job getting every single one of the offensive linemen singled up with a pass rusher for North Carolina. Gene Chizik designed it to where everybody had a one-on-one. Tamari Fox, a guy they're very excited about, was ineligible last year, but he's back and has a newfound focus on football. They're very excited about the potential that he might display in the middle of that defense.
Mitch Jeter has not missed a field goal as a college kicker. He's now 12 out of 12 after 11 for 11 last year. That's a 26-yarder. They're back within 2 scores with 12:19 to go. Still more great college football coming your way this weekend. Tomorrow night, the biggest matchup of this weekend. Number 5 LSU, number 8 Florida State in the Camping World kickoff game from Orlando. That's here on ABC, 7:30 Eastern time. Florida State won a thriller last year. And then Monday night, an ACC battle, number 9 Clemson at Duke. Capital One Labor Day kickoff on ESPN, 8 Eastern time. Mike Elko won 9 games at Duke last year. They bring 17 starters back. Mitch Jeter kicks off. And a fair catch made by DJ Jones. Here's Kevin Nagandi.
Sean, AT&T 5G studio update. Number 1 Georgia, the 2-time defending champs, pouring it on against UT Martin. True freshman Kyron Jones, the 26-yard pick 6. The Dogs roll 48-7, and they face South Carolina in a couple of weeks. Back to you.
Yeah, South Carolina's going to have to get it buttoned up. With an eye toward that one. Georgia put it on them pretty good last year in Columbia, too. Are they the favorites again in your mind?
They are. Until proven otherwise, they are excellent. And I think Carson Beck's a really adequate replacement for Stetson Bennett.
Oh, Omarion Hampton got blasted by Debo Williams. Wow, what a hit.
Unbelievable hit right here by Debo Williams. Boom! As you can see, the Polars didn't even see him. He hit it so fast. He's got great athleticism and strength. Now is having a better understanding of how to hit the hole as a linebacker.
He has 13 tackles tonight, Debo Williams. At 43 all of last year. It's intercepted off the hands of the intended target and picked off. Kawan Banks, who changed his number. You saw no name on his jersey. He's ordinarily number 13, but wearing number 48, we're pretty sure it's Kawan. A huge play. A couple of Drake May interceptions, helping to get the Gamecocks right back in.
Just tremendous play by Banks. As you see the ball trying to hit the back shoulder, he leads him a little bit too far upfield, which forces Paysor to kind of reach. It's tipped up just ever so slightly. And how about the concentration of Banks, reeling it in, and then he's up the sideline. Just a massive play for South Carolina, and if I'm them, I might take a shot right here.
First career interception for the sophomore from Tallahassee, and Rattler throws it away. Under duress again, this offensive line just having all kinds of trouble against this strong front seven. They think it's strong. Last year would tell you it's not strong, but
illegal formation.
Now Banks has his jersey on.
5-yard penalty. First down.
So you can see the illegal formation. Knox not on the line of scrimmage in the 3-by-1 to the right, but they're trying to take shot plays. That's a perfect example. Sudden change plus territory. You take a shot. That's exactly what South Carolina was trying to do. There's been 3 or 4 instances when they've had chances to throw it over the top, but their offensive line just can't hold up right now against these pass rushers for North Carolina.
One of those 14-point comebacks was against Clemson last year at Clemson in the regular season finale, and the screen pass incomplete again. You know, that play was speeded up by the pressure from the defense. They're trying to execute the screen faster than they should be because they have to.
Sometimes the best way to neutralize an aggressive pass rush, and North Carolina has been very aggressive tonight. Screens, draws, and cadence. We haven't seen them really use a lot of cadence. They're obviously on the clap, but you might need to think about a draw at some point.
There's Leggett having a career night. He got very close to the first down, about a yard short. Shoved out by Huzzy with help from Holloway. 6 catches, a career high 133 for Xavier Leggett.
Got to take 2 downs here. Here's South Carolina.
3rd down and 1. Juju McDowell. Interesting. In the short yardage situation, they give it to the running back who's 5'9", 180. But DK Joyner's first career start as a running back hasn't been able to get any traction at all. Just 23 yards rushing on 12 carries. He's the much bigger back at 229, 6th-year senior. He's back in at running back. Quick throw and catch. Out of bounds near the 15-yard line goes Peyton Mangrum. He's also number 13. That's the reason why Hanks had to put on number 48. They must have both been out there on the same special teams at one point.
It's interesting that North Carolina is getting home, and yet their secondary is playing very soft, giving up the quick game underneath.
And there it is again. Nice catch by Joyner, wide receiver last year. Huzzy stops the play at the 12-yard line. We're under 10 minutes to go.
You would think if your pass rush is really, really good, if I'm the defender, I want to get up into the face of the wide receiver. I want to force him to take a couple seconds or a half a second to release, which would allow my pass rushers just an extra half second to potentially get home. So why they're playing soft coverage when South Carolina's having a difficult time blocking doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Under 9.5 to go. 2nd and 6. You'd have to think this is 4-down territory. If it gets to that, another field goal at this juncture doesn't do them much good. Joyner wrapped up and taken down. Good tackle by Power Eccles. Stopped it for a 1-yard gain. Huge 3rd down here for Shane Beamer, the Gamecocks. They're only 4 out of 11 on 3rd down. Rattler 19 for 26 for the game for 254. Joyner, the running back, he goes out in the pass pattern. Rattler could barely take the snap, and he throws it away with Rucker right in his face. They want a grounding penalty on the North Carolina sideline. And here comes the flag. They're going to get it.
Intentional grounding. Offense, number 7. Ball's it down. 4th down. Please double check the spot. Double check the spot.
Well, now what do you do? I mean, a field goal doesn't really help. You're down by 14 points. But this is not exactly a manageable 4th down situation.
And watch the right tackle here. This is Tyshawn Wanamaker. He slides in. He's responsible for number 25, Kamen Rucker. Instead, he slides in for some reason. He must have not gotten the call. Kamen Rucker is coming free off the edge, and Spencer Rattler has no choice.
They're going for it on 4th and 19. Has time, but that throw is way short of the line to make. Leggett spun out of bounds, and they'll turn it over on downs. Now Shane Beamer seems perplexed. Yeah, you almost wonder if you should kick a field goal, because that was a low percentage play, and it's really low percentage when you throw it that far short of the line to gain. 8:40 to go. What can I do? Says Spencer Rattler. Somebody please block for me.
Duke's Mayo Classic Saturday Night Football is presented by Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Well, Mac Brown has said throughout the preseason our defense is going to be better. Our defense is going to be better. It's a lot of the same guys on defense who didn't play very well last year, but they are better. 17 sacks all of last year. They have 7 tonight. And they've had relentless pressure all night long against Spencer Rattler. And they've held South Carolina to 2 yards rushing on 28 attempts. On offense, British Brooks gets 10 and a 1st down. Jalen Kilgore tripped him up, an 11-yard pickup for Brooks. He's coming up on a 100-yard game, 84 yards rushing.
Outside of the interceptions from May, it's been a pretty dang impressive performance all around offensively. The balance that they're showing, being able to establish the line of scrimmage, keeping Drake May's body clean, hasn't been under a lot of duress. 0 sacks given up. It's really been a rock-solid start for Chip Lindsey, the new offensive coordinator.
Brooks carried again. And Jordan Strawn was in on the tackle. His return should be a boost for South Carolina on defense. He played in only 2 games last year. Ripped up his knee. He's an excellent edge rusher. Big number 7 there at the left end of their defensive line. 7.5 to go. May's pass batted down and nearly another interception. DQ Smith deflected it and it floated in the general direction of O'Donnell Fortune.
Interesting here. Chip Lindsey, got to trust your quarterback. I mean, he's been so good since his time as a starter last year, but at this point, a little bit questionable with some of the decision making. So maybe a high percentage throw right here, throw at the line of scrimmage, see if they can't pick it up after the catch. But it's looking like pressure from South Carolina.
Letting the play clock go down under 5. Quick pressure. He got it off quickly to Paysor, who got taken down by Jalen Kilgore. And Shane Beamer started on the field. I thought he might be asking for a timeout. He has all 3, but there's a long way to go. That's a big stop for his defense.
And be really careful here if you're North Carolina, because you know South Carolina is coming after this punt, no doubt about it. So
in each of the last 2 season openers, South Carolina blocked 2 punts. 2 against Eastern Illinois in Shane Beamer's first game as head coach at South Carolina. 2 last year for touchdowns against Georgia State. But you can't block one when they don't punt. That's the first punt of the night for the Tar Heels by Ben Kiernan. And it's a fair catch by Eddie Lewis of a 39-yard punt. 6:35 to go.
Kevin Agani in studio with this update now for our Dr. Pepper Fansville studio update. And let's go to Happy Valley, number 7 Penn State hosting West Virginia. They love this kid, Drew Aller to Malik McClain. Aller had 3 touchdown passes, 31. Make that now 33-13 right now, Penn State. Sean, back to you.
The team will, a lot of people like to have a chance to win the Big Ten as I don't want to say dark horse, Greg, but that's a very talented Penn State team. Of course, you still have Ohio State and Michigan in the Big Ten. Leggett, another catch, good for 12. But there is a flag down back behind the line of scrimmage, and they're coming back.
Holding offense, number 77. 10-yard penalty, first down.
Yeah, the tackles have had their problems. There's Fugar, the transfer from Western Illinois in his first game as a Gamecock.
They have had their hands full, no pun intended, given the play we're watching right now. But it really is. These edge rushers for Carolina, North Carolina, they have been talking all offseason about how improved they are, but these tackles have really underwhelmed.
Joyner the catch. They have a new left guard, Nick Gargiulo, number 69. He transferred in from Yale. They were very impressed by him in the preseason. He was the team captain at Yale. They had only 1 captain, so what an honor for him. Jason Henry, the starting right tackle, went out early. Tyshawn Wanamaker is in, number 62. He was a big recruit, and he hasn't really gotten it done. Keep waiting. Here's Leggett again. Having an enormous night now. That's 23 more for Xavier Leggett.
Nice job of Spencer Rattler. Still, those edges are starting to collapse. He stepped up with a lot of intensity right there. Hit Leggett with a little shovel pass, and he's out the door.
Short set, Leggett again. Why not? Trying to dance away. He stepped out of bounds. Don Chapman did enough to stop him at the 35-yard line. 12 more. That's 9 catches, 177 yards for Leggett. And he needs a rest. He's over on the bench and out of gas. 5-man rush, quick slant. Luke Doty again hangs onto the ball as they try to rip it away from him. 24 yards on the completion of Doty, who has started 6 games at quarterback in the past. He was one of those 4 starters 2 years ago, 3 years ago now in Shane Beamer's first season. And Kamen Rucker is the injured player for North Carolina. Tonight, SEC football finals back for another season on the SEC Network. That seems like the right place for it. Dari Noka, Chris Doring, and Benjamin Watson, the biggest stories of the day. They'll break down all the games. 10:30 Eastern on SEC Network. So that's underway. And on the ESPN app. 4:46 to go. South Carolina once down by 17, trying to make it a 1-score game. 1st and 10. North Carolina 11. Rattler down again for the 8th time tonight. Amari Gaynor, the transfer from Florida State, where he had 210 tackles.
And just a great job of Amari Gaynor working to the inside, but as soon as he sees Spencer Rattler escape to his left, he disengages and chases him down. So they brought him in for a little bit of explosiveness off the edge. He's providing it with Kamen Rucker on the sideline.
Rattler hit as he throws to the end zone, and it skipped in. And Rattler, he's not going to survive the season if they don't block better. You got to give him credit, Craig. He has hung in there tonight under constant duress.
He really has. I mean, he's still giving them a chance. I mean, in the absence of any run game whatsoever, and the offensive line up front, they're just not staying engaged. I mean, almost every time he releases the football, he's got someone right in his lap.
That was Tamari Fox that time. 3rd down and 20. And you can just see what the pressure is doing to him, dancing around, knowing that he can't even complete his drop. He took the check down to TK Joyner. Shane Beamer has to be concerned, not just about this, but I mean, they're going to play a lot of stout defenses in the SEC.
Yeah, they are. And situational awareness. A moment ago on 4th and 19, Spencer Rattler threw a ball that was never going to have a chance to get a conversion. You have to just let this one fly into the end zone. If it gets intercepted, who cares? If it gets knocked down, so be it. But this one cannot come out short of the end zone on a 4th down try.
They have to have it with 3.5 minutes to go. To the end zone, too high, intended for Leggett. Marcus Allen had the coverage. So they got down there a couple of times, could convert a 4th and 19 and a 4th and 21, and those are both low percentage opportunities, obviously.
And he did have an opportunity to Xavier Leggett. It was well played and well defended by Carolina. High, give your guy a chance, just a little bit too high for Spencer Rattler. Obviously very difficult circumstances, but not a bad throw when you take everything else into consideration.
And to be fair to this offensive line for South Carolina, North Carolina believes it has a terrific defensive front. Here's British Brooks running across the 35. Jalen Kilgore made the tackle. 14, that gets him right at 15 yards, gets him to 99 for British Brooks in his first game since the end of the 2021 season.
I don't know if Chip Lindsey has a stat sheet up there, but hopefully they get that young man over the century mark, because he has earned it. He's tapping his helmet a little bit, though. They're saying, stay in, you need one more yard. I'm assuming. Of course, I can't imagine that's what's going on, but he certainly has earned it, given everything he's had to overcome.
And he needs one for 100. And he got a couple. Shane Beamer will start using his timeouts. 68,723 the attendance tonight. Many of them have made their way into this beautiful Charlotte evening.
30 seconds in late.
And the story tonight has been North Carolina on defense, just absolutely relentless. It doesn't matter who it is. It's been several. Bo Atkinson, in this case, working against the left tackle, Jackson Hughes, right around the edge. It's Jackson Hughes again. This time he doesn't get beat over the top. Instead, he swims and spins inside, dropping Spencer Rattler again. And then this time a simulated pressure. They drop the 3 guys on the left. They bring the 4 guys on the right. They're not overloading the protection. They're just confusing Spencer Rattler and confusing the offensive line. They get a free hitter, and they drop him yet again. This has been a terrific defensive plan from Gene Chizik from start to finish. They have been a step ahead. They have been completely relentless, and the offensive line for South Carolina and Spencer Rattler, for the most part, have had very little chances to make big plays.
And they've stuffed the run. -8 rushing yards. Now, of course, the sacks come off the rushing total in college football. The longest run of the night for South Carolina is 15 yards by Rattler.
Second charge timeout.
British Brooks, his
30 seconds.
second career 100-yard rushing game, first since 2021. As we mentioned, he missed all last year. I think if you're a North Carolina fan, you have to be very encouraged by this. The defense feisty tonight. Offensive line looks pretty good, and without the 2 guys they thought were going to be their 2 top wide receivers in Walker and McCollum, they've thrown for 269.
Well, Drake May is going to be able to get it done. A couple bad decisions. It's to be expected. Trying to make a play, it's really not that unusual, especially in week number 1. But I would say the biggest sign of encouragement is there were 2 points of emphasis coming into the season. Can we run the football? And can we get after the opposing quarterback and create negative plays? They have passed both tests tonight with flying colors. They have been so disruptive with their defensive line, and they've been able to create a lot of balance, which will take a tremendous amount of pressure off of Drake May as they navigate throughout their season.
There's 47 yards in the sack yardage lost for South Carolina. Hampton, the ball carrier.
Third and final time.
Last time out for Shane Beamer. We'll use it to check in with Kevin Nagandi.
Sean, week 1 continues over on the ESPN family of networks. Over on ESPN, UCLA opening up its season at the Rose Bowl against Coastal Carolina. Ethan Garbers, the Carson Ryan, 21 yards. Bruins, their first touchdown. They're fighting Chip Kelly's up 7-0 over on ESPN. Back to you.
Last year in the Pat was going to be the last year of the Pac-12 anyway.
Right.
But in the departure of UCLA and USC, obviously, so the Big Ten had much to do with that.
I would say, even though it's their last year, it's been a remarkable week 1 for the Pac-12. Utah gets a big win against Florida on Thursday, and then what Colorado was able to do today. Everyone knows that Washington's the real deal, taking care of business against a scrappy Boise State team. But USC's been looking pretty good so far through the first couple weeks. If Colorado can emerge, if Washington State can play well, if Washington can continue, that league from top to bottom, I mean, you'd be hard-pressed to find a league that has more teams that could contend for the conference championship. I think it's the deepest league in sport.
Here's Ben Kiernan, the Dublin native. He just did get it off. Kiernan came to this country at age 15, the Raleigh-Durham area. Clear catch made by Eddie Lewis. How about these numbers today? Deion Sanders' debut as head coach. His son throws for a school record 510 yards against the team that was the national runner-up last year. Travis Hunter played both ways, 119 yards receiving and an interception. Played 129 snaps in 100-plus heat. And Dylan Edwards, 159 total yards. There were some who said it would still be a rough year. I believe ESPN Analytics predicted 3 wins. And I'm sure at TCU was not one.
No, I can't.
So we might have to run the numbers again.
I would say so, that's for sure. I mean, let's just say they're a little ahead of schedule. My goodness.
Luke Doty, another catch. Rattler dumps it off short. Stumbling out of bounds. Joshua Simon, another transfer tight end. He comes from Western Kentucky, where he had 86 career catches. They had to replace really their entire tight end group. Jaheim Bell, Austin Stogner, Trayvon Kenyon, all gone. They brought in Knox and Simon as transfers. Here's Rattler running out of bounds. So they'll have Furman next week. Will South Carolina. I believe Gene Chizik has a son on the Furman team.
He does.
Told us last night. So they'll have to deal with another Chizik. Gene's defense creating all kinds of problems all night long. Rattler goes down again. Rucker again. Well, they were telling us they think he's going to have a tremendous year. He's 6'1", ridiculously put together at 265.
It's kind of like when you look at him, he's a little longer than James Harrison, but just how low to the ground he plays and how powerful he plays. I mean, he's going to be a handful, and he has given South Carolina all they want tonight.
He's had 5.5 tackles for a loss. Simon, another catch. When you put him with Gray and Eccles, solid group up front. Evans, Hester, Murphy, Fox a good backup. Atkinson made a nice play. You have to think if the secondary can hold up, they will be a lot better. They're already a lot better than they were last year. Eccles chops down Simon. He's had 3 quick catches.
And you start to think about the ACC as well. I mean, Clemson, question marks, but feel pretty good about them. Florida State feel great about them. Man, it'd be hard right now, based on what we've seen tonight, to say that North Carolina is anything lower than 3, based on the performance of Drake May, Mac Brown, and their defensive improvements.
So the defense gets another turnover on downs, and congratulations to Mac Brown. This will be career win number 100 for him as head coach at North Carolina. And he's the first coach in history to win 100 or more at 2 different schools. Won 158, a national title at Texas. Winning as coach at North Carolina. And the competitive juice is still flowing. Rattler finishes 30 for 39 for 353. Remarkable given all the pressure. He was sacked 9 times for 57 yards and losses. Drake May, 24 out of 32. He got off to a quick start and then didn't have to do much. 269 for May, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. And the hometown boy, Drake May, very happy. Back to the drawing board for Rattler and that offensive line. And hopefully they'll get a healthy Juice Wells back soon. May takes a knee. And North Carolina wins. Career win number 275 in total for Mac Brown. Over to give Shane Beamer a hug. He's been a mentor to Shane Beamer. Shane said, I can't call many coaches. It's so competitive, but I call Mac Brown a lot. Mac Brown and Shane's dad, Frank Beamer, went into the College Football Hall of Fame on the same day in the same class in 2018. Here's Molly with Mac.
Coach, congratulations on win number 100 with the Tar Heels, and what a win it was. Your defense only had 17 sacks all of last year. You had 9 tonight. What kind of toughness did you see out of that group?
Well, Molly, we challenged them to be tougher longer, and that's what they did. We got off track there in the early fourth quarter. Give South Carolina credit. We had the 2 turnovers, and we were trying to run the ball, and we didn't do it very well when they knew we could run it, so we got to get better in that area. But the defense stepped up, and they played so hard tonight and so tough. I knew they'd be much better. We still got some young corners to work on. Hopefully we'll get our receivers back, and that'll help us some too. But really proud of this staff and these kids, because this is a good football team, a good SEC football team that beat a Clemson, a Tennessee, and nearly beat Notre Dame in a bowl game. So this is a great start for us, and what we've got to do now is enjoy this on the way home tonight and then get ready to play App State, who is they'll be excited about coming to Chapel Hill next week.
You said this game was all about earning your respect back after dropping the last 4 games last season. What kind of statement did you guys make about Tar Heel football here tonight?
Yeah, this is a tough team. They're great kids. They're tough kids, and they got a tremendous amount of pride, and I'm really proud of them.
What will it take for this group to be back on this field in December at the ACC Championship?
They got to keep stacking on better games. We've got some things we've got to fix. We got to go back and play next week like we did, with the same energy as we did tonight, but better, and not start thinking we're good. We got to be good, and we got to keep getting better, because to get from good to great, we were good tonight. We need to be great.
All right, thank you, Coach. Congratulations on win number 100 with UNC.
Thank you, Molly.
As classy as they come, Mac Brown. And an impressive win, as he said. Wasn't perfect, but a lot of things that give Tar Heel fans encouragement going forward, particularly on the defensive side. Greg McElroy, great to work with you. Looking forward to the rest of our season together with Molly McGrath and our great crew, led by Phil Dean and Scott Johnson. Final score, North Carolina beating South Carolina 31-17. Good night from Charlotte.